right, guys, welcome back to the show. One of the steps in building a barndominium, depending on where you are, is potentially fire blocking. The IRC requires fire blocking. I believe it's every 10 feet vertically and horizontally. And so this is a single-story barndominium with 12-foot sidewalls. So technically, I need a fire break. So that's what I'm going to do. And we have standard girts on the outside. So all I need to do is add a 2x6 bookshelf girt somewhere in this wall. I'm going to do it at this 5-foot mark. It's easy for me to obtain from the ground, reach from the ground to put my blocking in. And then when the foam goes in, that lower part of that wall will be blocked off. So we'll have a 5-foot section and a 7-foot section. And then the top of the wall is capped off. So if fire would start there, it can't transfer up into the attic, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to quickly show you how we do fire blocking when we're required. I personally don't get nervous about having or not having fire blocking the wall, but this building is in a jurisdiction that does require it, and they will fail your inspection if you don't do it. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in. I'm gonna make this really simple. I am going to line my fire block up right here. And so one, it will seal it off from this girt right here. But once we put our 3-inch spray foam in, there's no way that it can transfer around. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get a block of wood, I'm gonna go around and make all my measurements, cut my boards, lay them out, and then nail them in. All right, so you can see I went all the way down the side, got all my measurements, just wrote them on a 2x4. So left is the top, work down. So I'm gonna go out here to my pile of lumber, cut them, set them in here, and then I'll come and nail them all in. I'll do my side walls first, and then I'll do my 2 end walls. You can see we're just toe-nailing those in. And then our spray foam will actually come out 3 inches, so it's going to really lock that board in there. I have a break above that door there, so that's good there. So to hold these, I just put a screw in at an angle just to hold one side in place. I'll nail that side and then come back over and nail that one. This in particular one I have to notch out for that angle. So that's that. Got that one in the corner to do. Draw nail through the window, jam. All right, one side done. 3 sides to go. There we go. We have it all the way in. Where I had these bracings, I just notched out. Spray foam's gonna come out here and cover that anyway. So, see that nice straight line. Got it all the way down that side. Just gotta cut those pieces, which I'm gonna do now. And a few pieces along here. We will be good to go. All right, so check this out. This is why we put the bottom girt on, is so we can fill that all up with spray foam. And I like doing that because I like just filling that whole cavity up. It gives us a nice seal. It attaches to our frost protection that goes down the side of the slab and then connects to the insulation going underneath. And then in this case, we put our fire break in that's required here so that the spray foam would seal both sides. A girt will go across here, so that'll seal. And then up top you can see that we filled that all in too. That's easy to drill through to get pipes, stuff like that. Then you can just use can foam to fill back in. Step one was preparing for our spray foam. So you can see that's all in, looks amazing. So now I'm gonna put all my wall girts on. We do 2 foot on center wall girts. So we're gonna get set up for that. I'm gonna use a green line laser to get a line all the way around. And then once I get that first girt set perfectly level, I'll build 2 blocks, and then all I have to do is go around, get my next 2x4, put the block up, and nail it in, and it goes really fast. So this first one, this first girt, we run right across the bottom of our window box. It's a little bit less than 2 foot on center, but it works out perfect because then we don't have to add another nailer here. We only have to do it at the top. So we're gonna go ahead, set my laser for right there at that point, and it'll cast a line all the way around, and then I can just go around, nail my boards on, and then we can get blocks and go to town. All right, so I got this green line laser. So I set it so it goes right across there. It casts a laser line all the way around. And so what I'll do is I'll go around my square, mark it all, and then I can start putting up my girts. But look how accurate that is. All the way on the other side, and she's just where it needs to be. So we're gonna go ahead, go around, mark all of our posts, then I can shut my laser off, put it away. All right, I marked all my posts all the way around, so I don't need my laser anymore. What I'll do now is I'll get this first girt on all the way around, and it'll be perfectly level. And then I will build blocks that I can just set on this one, set the next girt right on top, nail it in. It's quick and fast, and goes pretty smoothly. All right, we have our sidewall, our first girt on our sidewalls up. I always do the sidewalls first. 99% of the time, because my corner columns are faced the same way, so I can run right along. So once I get all this wall done, then we will do the end walls. But got our first one up. If I measure up 24 inches, that's the top of this block right here. So now, I mean, you wouldn't need to do this. I'm just showing you an easy way to do it. You would subtract 3.5 inches, so it would be center to center. So you'd need blocks 20.5 inches. And if you look here, I just tack that little piece on there, 20.5. So if I make 2 blocks 20.5 inches, all I have to do is set one there and on the other end, and I have my spacing because I set this one with my laser. So I know it's perfectly level all the way around. So now I can just use those blocks. There is a little bit unique situation in this because I have this fire break in here. And because we have interior girts, where I put this where it intersected it was just above an exterior girt. So I want one of my interior girts to overlap that so it seals that wall off, because that's the whole purpose of the fire break, is so fire can't travel up the wall. I did not put them in my house because I'm not worried about it, but code says you have to have them every 10 feet. These are 12-foot sidewalls, so we have to have a fire break in here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 2x6 up there, because where that landed, it was just up a little bit higher, but a 2x6 will drop down far enough that it'll intersect that and seal that wall off, and you'll see that when I do it. That's just something that I had to do, and it was the easiest place to put that fire break is where I put it. So I'm going to make some 20.5 inch blocks, put my next layer on, and then we will go from there. All right, my camera I think went dead, but got her back going. Got all the girts on this back wall, or that sidewall done. Got a couple more on this one. Then I'm debating whether I'm gonna do that back wall or if I'm gonna start putting in my ceiling joist here so I can get this wall framed up so the electrician can get his box in. Then we'll have power in here. So we get this done and then get a drink and I'll determine what I'm gonna do. But this isn't too bad. A lot of physical work, but building, that's what it is. Just gotta keep at it, keep plugging away. Son of a bitch. Grease that, Justin. Get pushed up all the way. All right, so there's a good example right there. This hasn't happened to me all day, but of course the one I film at normal speed. I put that board up there and it caught on the edge of one of the plies. So just make sure you're butted up all the way. One thing you could do, it just takes too much time for me, is to measure over and put a mark in the center of your board before you put up, so then when you know if it feels like it's butted up and that line's in the center, you know you are. If it's off, you know you're off. So I guess you could argue that if you did that to all of them and it happened once, I don't know if it would be worth the time or not. It took me about 2 minutes to pull that out and fix it. So got 2 more, then both sidewalls are done. All right, now that we got the sidewall girts up, like I said, I really want to get this utility room framed in. So in order to do that, I need to put the ceiling joists up. So I went ahead and marked these 3 24s. But the garage is going to get steel, so I don't need a ceiling joist in there. But these are undermount hangers. We will put those on all these all the way to the end. The end one will get 2x4 hangers. And then that one will get 2x4 joist hangers. So I'm gonna get going on that, see if I can get a couple rows up before the end of the day here. All right guys, so that took me about 12 minutes to do 19 ceiling joists. So hypothetically, you should be able to cut every single one of these exactly the same. If you're like me, I want them to be like perfectly snug. So there might be slight wave in that bottom cord of that truss. We do put bottom bracing across every 10, 12 feet, but there can be a 1/4 inch variance pretty easily. So what I like to do is I'll stack my 8-foot boards up on my whether you're using a lift or you're using scaffolding. I'll butt one side up to the bottom cord of one truss, go over and just strike line, cut it, set it in, and then they're all perfectly snug. You know, I'm sure it doesn't matter if you're a little off, but I just like that snug fit all the way across, so that's why I do it. And it took me like 12, 13 minutes to do 19 across. So We're gonna do the same thing with this one, then I'll go fasten all these in. All right guys, so what I do, take a board, press it up against the truss over there, and on this side, I'll just strike a line. Then I can get a perfect snug fit every time. Another thing you want to do is you want to crown your boards and then crown up. So I'll show you this side this time. Board, bump it up. Strike the line. Cut it. Crown up. Nice snug fit right there. So it is, that side took me 13 minutes, this row. Started at 10:24, it's 10:37. So do have to go back and nail them all in, but at least they're all set up there. All right, we have 2 rows of ceiling joists put in. 99% of the time, I always put all the ceiling joists in first. But because I'm trying to get this electrical box in, I'm just gonna do these 2 rows so I can get this wall up. So you can see I have 2 rows cut, put in. The wall that I'm building is going right along here. Today's goal is to get all of the rest of these ceiling joists in and to get all of our girts up here at minimum. So I got a lot of work cut out. So we are gonna get going. I said this before, it's ideal if you mark all your trusses for your ceiling joists while they're on the ground. I did not do that on this one, so just make sure you start on the same side and pull your 24s across. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to mark, and then I can start putting all my hangers up. So we're gonna get cranking. All right, so I have all of my ceiling joists marked out, 24s. Make sure you pull them from the same side of the wall so they're lined up. And we have 2 different types of hangers here. We have a 2x4 hanger, which is gonna be on my very end. The way I've chosen to do it, I'm gonna have to use a 2x4 hanger. And then at each truss, I'm gonna have an undermount hanger, which gets fastened through here to the truss. And then you can set a ceiling joist on each side of the truss. And then this whole thing gets nailed into the truss and into the ceiling joist. So what we use to nail those are joist hanger nails. These are Tico nails. They come in different sizes. And then I have a pneumatic Tico nailer. This is the Fasco F36. Works really well. Thought about getting a cordless one, just never have. But before you get started, make sure you take some air tool oil, drop a couple drops in there. Keep your tools healthy. I do that daily before I use it. A couple drops is good. Also, when you're nailing, you can move the direction that the exhaust comes out so you don't get blasted in the face. And then I always wear safety glasses when I'm doing this because, you know, if one of these nails was to come off, deflect, could easily take an eye out. So I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna go ahead and put all of these in, and then I will start cutting and putting in my ceiling joists. All right, guys, so you can't put these up wrong. If you look at the bottom, you obviously want these to be facing where the joists are gonna be. So in this case, I'm gonna come up here, I'm gonna look at my line right here. I'm gonna slide this on here so that that line comes down to right there. Then all I got to do is put 2 nails in the bottom. It helps if you hit the hole. But when you are putting these in, you want to angle your nail gun towards the inside of the truss. So on that side, you want to slightly angle this way. This side, you want to slightly angle that way. These trusses, and you're nailing into these, the nails have a tendency to take the grain, and you can come out the side. So a slight angle in will solve your problem. You'll never have to deal with that issue. So we'll do a couple here so you can see. You can see I did these on a ladder. I'm trying to show you guys different ways to do it. In this case, the ladder worked fine. This is obviously quicker because I can scoop myself right along. As long as your cord's out of the way, which it usually is, get going. Definitely want to wear some safety, eye safety.
I'm sorry.
And then you just keep moving along. Alright, so that took me about 5 minutes, maybe not even that, to go across 40 feet on here. Probably take me double that with the ladder. So I got one more truss to do where I'm going to do under saddle, and then I'll show you how I mount the 2x4 hangers and get them right where I want them. All right, so you can see everywhere else we have these under mounts, but now we're over here on this end wall. And so my ceiling joist needs to be even with the bottom of this plywood. So we're going to use 2x4 hangers. What I like to do is take a little 2x4 block, my hanger, then I like to set it there. You just bring it down to where that's going to sit even with the bottom of that, and then I can nail it in. It's just like, just make sure I get it right where I want it. Make sure it's turned down a little bit. Then I get that mounted perfect every time. You can see, just using that little template. This is perfectly flush. So now I can run these all the way across, doing the same thing. All right, so you can see that goes in pretty easy. And then right here, 2 nails go in and they angle through the 2x4 into this board here, so they're fastened there. These are pretty stout hangers. They aren't going anywhere, so I'm just gonna continue all the way down, and then all the hangers will be up and I can start dropping in ceiling joists. So with the ceiling joist, kind of the steps I like to take, if I haven't marked the truss prior to installation, I'll mark the trusses. Then I will put all my hangers up. Then I will go through, drop all of my ceiling joists in, and then I will come back and nail them all in. If I'm doing it by myself, if you have another person, somebody can be dropping them in and somebody can be coming behind nailing them. Just kind of the steps that I like to take. First thing with these hangers, when you're nailing them in, you want to make sure that this is flat. Sometimes these can get pushed down, so first thing I do is I hit this up, make sure it's flush, pull this tight, nail these 2 on each side, And then once I get that nailed, I pull the board down and put the 4 nails in that. So there's 16, let's see, 8 nails per board that you have to do. So there are a lot of nails, but these things are rock solid when they're done. So just a couple little tips: make sure this is pushed up flat, and then once you get the actual bracket nailed in, make sure you push your board down. So there you go. You see one, you've seen them all. I will tell you, this is a very tedious process. There's lots of nails per bracket. You're going to want to invest in a Tico nailer if you are going to do quite a few of these. I'd hate to have to hand nail them. Although in the old days, that's how you had to do it. And you usually would end up with bloody fingers. But a Tico nailer is something you could use and resell probably pretty easy. So just keep that in mind. I have one more truss to do, and then I just have the end bay to nail off, and then we can get to framing up walls and stuff like that, which I'm super pumped to do because you get to see some progress. All right, all the ceiling joists are up, nailed off. Now I'm gonna put the girts up on this end wall. And so what I did is I lined my laser up with where that bottom girt intersects, and cast a line up there to where that is. And now I'm gonna measure over 1.5 inches, make a line, and then I'll put a 2x4 in there so I have something to nail my girts to other than these. It'll make sense once I get it up here, but when I get it, go ahead and get all this marked, and then I'll do the other side as well. All right, you can see that we now have that board in there, so when we bring our girt across here, I can toe nail it into here and nail it into here, and it'll be good and strong. We can do that all the way up. So just gonna do that side, and then we can put our girts up. All right, guys, that's gonna be a wrap on step 2 of interior framing, and that's all of your girts and ceiling joists. We did 2x4 ceiling joists, 2 foot on center. It's an 8-foot span. If you look at the IRC, it says that a 2x4 can span, I think it's like a little over 9 feet. We're spanning 7 feet, 10.5 inches. We've been doing this. It has no problem holding the 5/8 drywall. As far as the interior girts, we use a bottom green treated and then regular 2x4s. The reason this middle one is a 2x6 because for fire blocking, this has 12-foot walls, so we had to put a fire break in here. And for me to keep on my 2 foot on center, a 2x, and where I needed to put this, it just worked out that a 2x6 was here. You can use all 2x6 interior girts if you want. 2x4s, 2 foot on center, fine. You just have to use 5/8 drywall on your exterior walls. One thing we will come back and do later, as you can see right here, the windows, we will block all of these in just like we do on the exterior. So once I get everything framed, I like to go through, do all my wall blocking, all my window blocking, and just kind of tidy everything up. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. As always, we appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, share us with your friends, and we'll catch you on the next video.